Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you this morning with another What's Next. This one is going to be on former two-division world champion Badou Jack of Sweden. Jack fights for the PBC. He's with Mayweather Promotions as well. Jack last fought in December on the Gervonta Davis undercard when he challenged for the WBA regular title against John Pascal and came up short by a close, controversial decision. Ended up being a split decision where Jack outlanded Pascal, but Pascal was given the split decision nod. And it was a really close fight, so it was somewhat controversial, but I could really see how they saw it either way. But Jack was supposed to be rematching with Pascal in May, but the PBC has canceled everything through May, and that was never 100% finalized. So, given that that's what they were going for, I think that's probably what they're still going for. But let's take a look. Let's run it through the top 10 and see what possibly could be next for Badou Jack if that fight doesn't happen, since it wasn't 100% finalized. So we'll start with number 1, and that is the undefeated IBF WBC champion, Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev, it's not going to happen next because Meng Fanlong is getting an IBF mandatory title shot against Beterbiev. But I could see it possibly going down maybe later in the year if Jack puts himself in position. His highest ranking, and maybe his only ranking, is in the WBC right now. So this might be his best option to go after a final eliminator against maybe Alexander Usyk if he can't get the showdown, or even Gilberto Ramirez if he can't get the rematch with Pascal. So it's not going to happen next, though. Number 2 is Jesus, guys, drawing another blank. Number 2 is former champ Sergey Kovalev. Right now, I believe Kovalev is a promotional free agent. His last fight was going to take place on DAZN. I'm not sure if he's fully with DAZN now, but if he's not, I definitely think him and Jack could fight. But see, the thing is Kovalev is talking about moving up to cruiserweight. But here's the thing: Jack, prior to the fight with Pascal, was talking about possibly moving to cruiserweight. Kovalev was coming back at 180 pounds. I don't think Jack would be opposed to a fight like that. So I can see these two guys locking horns. I'm going to lean towards the less likely, but I do think it's possible. These are two veterans, been around a while. Why not? Both coming off of losses, so I think it would make sense. But, I'm going to lean towards the less likely. Number 3 is former WBO champion Eleider Alvarez. Alvarez is lined up for the 4-man tournament to determine the new WBO world champion, the title that got vacated by Canelo late last year in December. So, yeah, this Badou Jack's not in it, so Alvarez is likely going to fight Joe Smith Jr. next. So this fight's not going to happen. Number 4 is undefeated WBA champion Dimitri Bivol. Bivol would fight him if Jack wanted to fight him. Bivol's a super champion at 175. So again, Bivol would fight Jack if Jack wanted to fight, but I don't think Jack wants to fight. So I'm not seeing it, this one happening right here. Matchroom would have to get together with the PBC anyways, and I don't think that's going to happen. Number 5 is former WBC champion Alexander Usyk. Usyk is in line for, he's high up in the WBC. I think he's number 2 right now. I can see these two guys locking horns in a final eliminator, but it's Top Rank working with Mayweather Promotions and the PBC. I think both guys have other options, and even though it'd be a WBC final eliminator, I don't think they're going to get together to make it happen, so I'm not seeing it. Number 6 after him is Jean Pascal, which would be the WBA regular champion, which would be the rematch. I personally believe this is going to be the fight that happens next for Jack, because it was a fight that was going to happen. The first fight was very close, and it was a really good fight too. So I think they'll get their rematch done, and I think that's what's going to be next for Jack. And I think Jack's going to beat Pascal. Number 7 is former interim champion Marcus Brown, which would be a rematch of a fight that Jack lost last January, but he also had that bad cut. This fight's a possibility if Pascal goes in a different direction. I think this fight would be next for Jack because he wants to get revenge on Brown. Jack is convinced that that cut affected him Now, I don't know, because Brown is younger, technically more sound, he's faster, and he's bigger, and I believe Brown was kind of whipping his ass before the cut happened in the 6th round. Now, Jack is a second half of the fighter, though, but he was getting soundly beat, and it didn't look like Brown was taking his foot off the gas pedal of that. So I think Brown would have beat Jack anyways, but there is the shadow of doubt now because of that bad cut that Jack got on his head, and that did affect him in the second half of the fight. So if Pascal doesn't happen, I think this is next likely option as a rematch with Marcus Brown. Number 8 is Badou Jack. Number 9 is Gilberto Ramirez, the undefeated former super middleweight champion. He's number 1 in the WBC right now. I could see if Ramirez is having a contract dispute right now with Top Rank. If Ramirez does away with that and decides to go forward and fight one of the top guys in the WBC, and he can get away from Top Rank, then maybe the fight's possible, but I'm going to lean towards the less likely. I think he's going to be in this dispute for a while, and Jack just has other options, and I think he's going to go with those. And then finally at number 10 is Joe Smith Jr. Not going to happen. Joe Smith's competing in that 4-man tournament to determine the new WBO champion. He's fighting Canelo Alvarez next, most likely. So what do I think Badou Jack's going to do next? Again, I think he's going to face Jean Pascal in a rematch for the WBA regular title. I think he's going to beat Pascal personally if that fight goes down. I think he'll get him in a rematch. Other option would be Marcus Brown if Pascal doesn't decide to fight Marcus Brown in a rematch next. So that's the second option. And the third option is possibly Sergey Kovalev if Kovalev is, if he is a promotional free agent and a fight can be made. So, all right, guys, that's the what's next on former 2-division world champion Badou Jack. Hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, been hit with the truth.